This video is really about the last model that I ever made called Tribute. It was dedicated to my pet Baltimore Oriole named Chickie. And it compares some motorcycle adventures, some of the things people do with motorcycles, to model planes. It also has a little nostalgic, some footage that Dave Midgley was able to get for me, and a look back at the world we lived in of model aviation, 31 nationals in a row, and Big Jim, who deserves all the credit in the world for helping me design and build and fly and everything. He just was the best. And you can watch this whole thing in full 4K. Notice the bird is on my shoulder. He's on my shoulder right now. Check that out. And anyway, you could watch this in full 4K like all YouTubes. Just adjust the setting knob in the lower right hand corner. Now this is the plane that I made as a tribute to my pet bird, my pet Baltimore Oriole Chickie. I named it Tribute in his honor. Here's a picture of him, a graphic on the tail. And somewhere in this movie video, I may take out a little bit of the, a couple little clips of when he was alive. He's passed on. Some of the things that we enjoyed doing down in the shop, I think they were kind of cool at the time. And just an interesting bunch of facts go along with this plane. It's the last plane I've ever flown. It was flown the last flight at Brodex. It's the last time I've ever flown. It was one of the designs we made with a wing that Dave Midgley made a one-piece aluminum mold to make carbon fiber composite wings. This is one of the ones we had on that. And among other unique little features, I don't know how many people have seen any of those videos or seen it fly or whatever, but I thought this was the culmination of all of the Cardinals, all of the planes that I had built of that era that had the same look, the same canopy, basically a similar paint job. It's all Brodeck dope, of course. And it's a Rojet 76, and there's some interesting facts about this airplane worth sharing. And needless to say, this video is also a tribute to Chickie. I have a little monument. He's buried in my backyard under a water fountain, and with a statue of him, and we miss him every day. I even have a little model of him on the dashboard of my car. Chickie, we miss you. Now the aerodynamics of this wing, and basically of all the wings that I used for many, many years, came from Big Jim Greenaway, and they're very similar to many other designs. His Pattern Master, for one, was probably the dominant one that I used, and I would take his aerodynamics, his airfoil, pretty much put my own fuselage on it, and he consulted and I guess was part of most of the designs that I've flown in my whole life. Now in my lifetime, it's almost impossible to separate the world of motorcycling, the world of model airplanes, and my model railroading interests. It's just hard because they're all intertwined, and the technology you use on one, the carbon fiber for instance, you really can use on all of them. It's true. Now my friend Les Stemmett and John Cafaro both were influential in putting the side scoops. I'll try to show a close-up of that if you haven't seen it. We had copied the Testarossa type of styling for many, many years. And to be honest, Les Stemmett was the one that spearheaded that, and John Cafaro very, very helpful. As a Ferrari owner, of course, he was supplying me with a lot of little information. But anyway, what was special about this model, I thought the styling was just a combination of all of the planes that I had built up to this point. It was one of the most satisfying planes to fly. It's the lightest of all the big planes I've ever flown. And the finish on it, I think, is really nice. And it follows the rules of all of the things that I've done and posted on videos for a lot of years. And thank you to Paul Taylor, of course, and Walt Brownell, all of the people that post those old videos. And as crude as they might be, there's some good information on them. And this plane, the videos that go into making this plane, I know they're out on the internet somewhere, but Paul Taylor and Kevin King, they all have a hand in sharing that information. My channel, of course, now is motorcycles and model railroading. and traveling to Europe. And I've posted several, I think, unique videos. If you've never been to France, that video of going to France, Paris to Normandy, is really, really a good one. I've often thought, whenever I come up to this room, I think, how many friends have I had, Bob Hunt happens to be the most obvious one, that ride motorcycles or have ridden, have an interest in riding. Les McDonald, motorcycle people that also love model aviation. And there's Mike Kujeski, just goes on and on and on. And I know Sparky rode Harleys, or maybe he still rides them, I don't know. But there's a lot of unique features of this plane that made it special to me. It has a carbon fiber tank. I know Sparky has the molds. He's still trying to make tanks, so maybe he is making them. The props that we used at this point in development all came from Doran Morisano's mold, and a very, very nice molding job he did. He's into gliders now, and the last time I spoke to him, he was out to the National Glider Championships, wherever that is. But anyway, I am really proud of this model, and I'm going to try to share some of the little interesting, unique features of it, little stories. Maybe at the end of this we'll put some stories that you may not have heard in the past. And this is the really nice graphics that John came up with. John Pothia, thank you. Of course, John has come up with the graphics for virtually all of the models that I have, and the motorcycles too. Another interesting fact, when I rebuilt and repainted my RD 400, I pretty much copied this paint job. They're very, very similar. In fact, I used the same dope. It was Brodak dope to paint the RD 400. Now, normally my channel is devoted to restoring old motorcycles. This is a 1977 RD 400 that I absolutely used what was left of the Brodak dope from painting Tribute many, many years later, and the color worked out great to match the Yamaha paint job of the time. And of course, we are in the Spitfire bedroom. For anybody that hasn't seen that video, I posted that recently. What I'm trying to do is post some of the interesting stuff that if I didn't post it, it might be lost for all of history. And I appreciate all the work Win Paul put into his documentation of the event. And to me, a lot of the stuff that's up here, I realize I'm 78 years old. This might be a good time to share it with everybody. And I hope you're enjoying the video. So far, since I've been posting stuff, I've got nothing but good feedback. And my whole life I've enjoyed, well, going to the racetrack. Here we are doing a track day and painting bikes, painting and restoring motorcycles. And hey, Joe Adamusco here, we built Spitfires together, and he has a bike too. And of course the B-25, I would say that's another one of the planes that I really put my heart and soul into. It's absolutely unbelievable how many hours went into that. Joe Adamusco was a big help with all that. Dave Downey making plans, getting the dihedral right in the wing, I should say polyhedral. And this was just an absolute labor of love. And again, every step of it is somewhere. Somebody's posted those videos, and I know there's probably 2,000 of them altogether. Now, I painted a lot of model airplanes with that type of paint job, that style, and actually a lot of motorcycles, several Yamahas, and many, many model planes. The Tiger Cat video, I got such nice feedback. Thank you, everybody, and thanks to everybody who hits the like button. I'm going to try to come up with some memorable stuff, some funny stories, interesting stuff you might not know about the world of, well, the world of modeling that I lived through. And I think most of it made for just some wonderful memories. Now, it's hard to explain to people that are not super workaholics like I am. I was always in the shop, always working on model planes at least 14 hours a day. And that bird was on my shoulder or eating my pizza, or anybody's over the shop. And Dave, basically, we had a Monday night pizza, and he'd keep everybody company. And he was friendly to everybody. There's no part, there's a Tiger Cat nose wheel I'm working on, and he's just part of everything. And he never went away. He never got tired. He was always fun to hang around with. He made all the hundreds and actually thousands of hours I spent in the shop building model planes so worthwhile, and why I thought it was important to do this tribute model plane to him.
Now, among the really unique features, the no cal nose, and I spent endless hours trying to figure out how to get that, because it's always a difficult thing to make it attractive and make it that you can get the motor and the fuel tank out. And that carbon fiber tank is still in there. I don't know if I decided to go flying this afternoon. I don't know if that carbon fiber tank is still good, but maybe we have to make that decision the day it comes. The wheel pants, I put an awful lot of time and energy into those wheel pants, trying to get them as stylish as I thought I could. Luckily, at the time I built this plane, I did take some pictures with the motorcycles I was restoring at the time. And again, it's all out on somebody's channel. And now there'll be a little bit of model aviation even on my channel. And so many people ride motorcycles and fly model planes. It is amazing.
And while I was editing this video, keep in mind, this was 13 years ago, and all of the memories came flooding back of building this model, the test flights. It was just, this was a unique model in so many ways, and so much fun to build. Dave and I building that wing together, it was just a lot of fun. It's great memories, but then everything in the world of model aviation and motorcycles too, you wind up with great memories. And I always think, when you look back at your life, when you get to my age, I'm 78, you look back at your life and you think, wow, I did this, I did that, I climbed this mountain, I fell into the valley or whatever. But I have had so many fun adventures, model aviation and motorcycles and model railroading, and having all the friends I've had over the years have just made my life just very special. And I'm always happy to share it and share these old pictures. Now I'm going to share some old pictures at the end of this and what I think are some interesting stories. But looking back at this model and taking it down today and looking at it, it's 13 years old. It looks like it's brand new. It looks like it would still be in the front row at the Nats. I don't know what else I could say about it. It is just, to me, from Big Jim Greenaway and Harold Price and all of John Pothia, Midgley, of course, all the people that have put something back into the world of model aviation. Thank you guys so much. Now, this is the first real model I made with the help of Harold Price. It's actually his old Valkyrie. My number used to be 12618. It's 72618 now. And we went to the Chicago Nationals, and he let me drive halfway out there, and he had a station wagon. He was snoozing and sleeping, and he never bothered to check if I had a driver's license. So I drove about through the whole state of Pennsylvania without a driver's license. Harold. More stories of Harold coming in the future. And I had just spoken to Thomas Luciano, who has the big job. I donated the big job to his cause, and he suggested that we get together someday, somehow, somewhere, and just exchange stories and let the cameras run. And I think he's got a point. That might be a good thing to do if we can get a bunch of modelers together and just let the stories flow, because every one of us in the world of modeling has some very, very interesting stories. Now, one of the things I enjoy, because I have this room in my house called a Spitfire bedroom, used to have a bed in it, now it's just got what's left of my modeling career. And we always have guests. Joe Roselli and his family were just here to run the trains. Turbo Steve and Dale were here, and Joe Padula, and everybody gets to see the models. But I wonder if people outside the world of modeling really have an appreciation of what a labor of love it is to build even one of these. And I built one every year for 31 years, so, or sometimes two. And I think most of the people in modeling would appreciate the labor of love this is, and Tribute was no different. That really, really pushed my patience and things in a lot of areas. And having it up in that attic, sometimes at night, what I do is I just go get a nice cup of coffee, go up there, turn some music on, and some nice Steely Dan music usually lets me remember what a great group of people the modelers of the world are. It's so much fun thinking of the stories, and I hope we can get together and share some very funny stories. I have some stories to share, Everybody I know has stories to share. And they're all true. You don't even have to make anything up. But tribute, being up in my Spitfire bedroom, it really is a nice thing to have when you get old. And this was 7 years of my life that he sat on my shoulder, and he left some little poops on my shoulder every once in a while, maybe 14 times a day. Everybody, Kent Ticer, everybody who ever was at the house, John Cafaro was here. There's almost nobody. Casminato was here. Everybody that ever met Chickie, I think, would, in the world of model planes, would remember him. Everybody. And I just thought the tribute, this would be a great tribute to him, painting the plane yellow and black. And Big Jim, thank you for a lifetime of help doing motors and design work. Every single model that I ever built, I always think so many people have contributed, their knowledge, their help, their camaraderie. Look at the hat. The hat has got a Chickie hat on here. I had those Baltimore Oriole hats. And being on a cover of Model Aviation, there's a story. It would take a half hour to tell. Joe Ortiz took this story, and everybody that ever looked at it noticed the filthy, dirty, painty pants I had on. Says, if you're going to be on the cover of a magazine, why don't you put a clean pair of pants on? True story. Joe. Hey, and Derek Berry, he made a copy of the sweeper. It was at Brodeck so many times, and it used to always make the crowd happy to see it. Dale and Derek, you guys are the best. It's just amazing, amazing, the adventures that I've been able to have in a sport, in a hobby. John DeTavio. John worked for me for 2.5 years, most of the work on my rental property in this house. John did the work and the carpeting, and he carpeted my garage. And then I worked for him for a few years. A lot of stories about John I will tell one day. I could fill up a video. B-25, I could fill up stories at a B-25. And this was back in 1966. Boy, I wish I had a copy of that. This sweeper was on the cover of a magazine. That's the I-beam sweeper. I don't have a copy of the magazine anymore. I'll pay big dollars for one if anybody's got the magazine that's on the cover. And Harold Price, I promise I will do a video of the adventures I had with Harold Price when I was 14, 15, 16 years old, learning to drive, going to the mirror meet, the Crusader with the retracts. I have Harold Price stories. I could film more than one video. Going with Billy Werwich to the Pasco Nats, we spent 5 days in my van together. I have stories Billy and I told each other, and the Red Baron stories, Warren Walker. My God, I'm just hitting the high points here. But if you guys like this type of video, if it's interesting, hit the like button. Let me know you like it. I'll make some more. I got buckets of pictures. I got buckets of old videos, everything. And all that stuff that's already out on YouTube. That other guys, thank you guys, Paul Taylor, Walt Brownell, whoever. Thanks everybody that published it, Kevin King. Hey, here's my air coupe. I used to take Bob Hunt for a ride in the air coupe. Dean Pappas, we all used to go up to his house, fly into the airport there and ride around. And my dirt bikes and my Suzuki. This is the bike I rode to Manhattan for 2 years. Of course, I was too lazy to take the bus. 125 Suzuki. But then the cover, there's a whole story. This is the cover of the magazine Karen and I were on, with tribute, of course. And The Adventures of Windy. I think that's a priceless. I've got to get myself together one of these days and tell that story. But the best story of all, and I'll save it for a separate video and tell it in detail. Bob Hunt and I rode motorcycles together. We were excellent, good friends. When I came back to the hobby after my road racing career, Bob offered to help me out and get me up to speed. He built the wing for this plane, helped me do a lot of things. But we rode to the Nats together in my van, and we only had one 8-track tape of Fiddler on the Roof. And this is a real true story. I know he's told it to everybody too. But all the way, and it's a 13-hour ride, 12-hour ride, we will listen to that tape, Tradition, and all the Fiddler on the Roof, all the way out, Tradition, Tradition. And I know Bob has got a better voice than I do. But we got to the Nats, and we were humming and singing it in the parking lot and picking up planes and looking at each other. And Bob Gieske was looking at us like we were on drugs. And that thing, Tradition, I took that so seriously that in 1987, I built a plane called Tradition. And Dave Midgley still has that iconic concourse winning plane tradition. And remember, most of the planes, including Tribute, were built using Big Jim's technology, and boy, it had served me well. Jim, thank you so much. And looking back, see, this is the problem looking back. I think of Miss Ashley. I made 2 Miss Ashley models, and Gary Levitz had gotten killed, of course, in Miss Ashley, but the crew, after he had passed away, the crew knew about me modeling his planes. They had sent me some drawings and plans, and they sent me one of only 6 t-shirts, a crew t-shirt for Miss Ashley, and I wore it on many of the videos back in the day there, and I was blown away by that. Boy, that's amazing. And Warren Walker, I know when we were doing the Red Baron and Warren Walker was doing Reno Air Races and other people were doing voodoos and everything, it's such a diverse, such a great group of guys, a group of talented guys. So I hope, of course, that you enjoyed the video, that it brought back some good memories of maybe the time you had invested in modeling, in motorcycling, or both, or designing planes, or just hanging out with talented people. And I have enjoyed all of it. I have enjoyed every minute of this. I consider myself to be a fortunate, very fortunate person to know some of the talented people I've known and some of the people that have helped me every step of the way. And as I said before in the video, if the guys out there enjoy these videos and enough people hit the like button, I will make some more dedicated videos. I do have a lot of pictures. I have a lot of video. I have a lot of stuff. And I'm working with Paul Taylor constantly to get the word out and get the videos out and get the pictures out. And I'm looking forward to telling some of the stories. And as I made this video and I did the editing, it brought back to mind, I was thinking about it too, just some of the things, the adventures, the stuff that we did. Midgley putting a lobster in one of his friend's toolboxes at a contest. The Jeff Stifle stories. We got to tell the Jeff Stifle stories. And as I said, some of the stories with Billy Werwich going cross country, they're priceless. You can't make that stuff up, no matter how you try. And no matter what, so many people have enjoyed over the years that we had Monday night pizza at Wendy's, being here, hanging out, sharing things. I'm lucky and happy to share it back. So again, I hope you guys did enjoy the video. I'm going to put my motorcycle ending at the video, but just share it and enjoy every minute. Thanks for watching.